Hey, welcome back to what I'm calling my walk and talks in Jerusalem. I'll try not to get hit by this train. It's another beautiful day here in Jerusalem, and I've just left the area that's known as Ben Yehuda Street, which is the pedestrian shopping district. And today I'm going to try to do something that I've not attempted before, so I don't even know if it's actually possible. I'm going to try to walk right up to the eastern gate from this side. Now, I've been on the other side of the eastern gate because you can access it from the Temple Mount. So once you go through security, you kind of go up that staircase, you get to the top and you can walk your way and make it to the eastern gate. But I've never attempted it from the outside. I've driven by it hundreds of times. I've done videos on it and all that kind of stuff. But I'm wondering if it's even possible. So we're gonna give it a shot. If we can't get actually right up to the gate, we're gonna get as close as we can. So let's see what happens. Well, we may as well take in some scenery on our way, or on our quest to get to the eastern gate. Here's a beautiful square here. So we're currently in what's called West Jerusalem. And it's predominantly the Jewish part of the city. If I go back here, I'll show you where I came from. This is Jaffa Street, Jaffa Road. Okay, so we're going to continue this way. And at some point, we're going to make our left. And when we do, we'll try to get to the eastern gate. So it's going to keep walking this way, and then at some point we're going to make a left just up here, and we're going to go past the Damascus gate, we're going to go past Herod's gate, and kind of continue to go a little bit more, hook around the corner, and we'll be able to see the eastern gate, but I have no idea if I can actually get to it. We'll see. Okay, I know where I am now. So just came out of Jaffa Street, and here, straight ahead, that's the Tower of David, which I've shown you before. So the Jaffa gate is over there. So I'm going to cross the street here, and then we're going to go down here, and that's where we're going to hit the Damascus gate, Herod gate, and eventually to the eastern gate. All right, so let's cross the street here. Wow, it's a beautiful day today. And the view, whew, look at this. So there we go, the walls of the old city. Now you gotta remember, these walls were only about 500 years old. And I know to us, for those of us who live in the West, a 500-year-old wall, that would be ancient. I mean, if you own a home, you know, back in Canada or in the States, and you say, oh, this home's like 80 years old. Oh, wow, that's a really old house. But here you say, these are the walls of Jerusalem. They're 500 years old. Oh, these are the new walls of Jerusalem. I mean, the paint's still drying on those. It's that kind of a place. It's that kind of a city. There's so much antiquity here, so much history, basically everywhere you look. Okay, so I forgot about one gate. This is called the New Gate. So it's the New Gate, Damascus Gate, then the Eastern Gate. So there they go. There's the entranceway to the New Gate. I've never been there before. Maybe I'll explore it sometime. Not today. Today, I'm on a mission. I want to take you to the Eastern Gate. Man, I always forget how pretty it is here. You know, I spent a few weeks in Liberia and I saw palm trees. And then I was recently down in Florida speaking, and there was palm trees. And then you come to Israel, guess what? There's palm trees. Yeah, there's deserts and there's camels and there's all that kind of stuff. There's a much prettier side to Israel that you don't see on the news. And that's why I like taking you on these walk and talks. Get to show you a part of Israel that you normally never see. Even on tours, you know, you're in your hotel, then you're on the bus and you go to all the top Christian sites, and they're very beautiful and it's really nice. But this is just an opportunity to see a part of Israel and Jerusalem specifically that you just normally don't get to see. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure where the actual line is, but we've crossed over now from West Jerusalem into East Jerusalem. And I can tell you that because of this gate here. This is the Damascus Gate, and it is the main entrance into the Muslim quarter of the old city. If you remember, I spoke about this earlier, that the old city was divided into 4 sections. So when you come in from around the corner up here, you come in through the Jaffa Gate, then you go down into the Muslim quarter, and then continue on to the Christian quarter, and to the right is the Armenian quarter, and then finally the Jewish quarter, which takes us to the Temple Mount area and to the Western Wall. So we're gonna keep going by the gate here. Just gonna keep heading around the walls, and the next gate we get to should be the Herod's Gate, and when we get there I want to show you something kind of cool. Hey, guess what? You're not going to believe this. More steps. Don't worry, when you come on the tour, we don't have to go through all these steps. You get off the bus and we take you pretty much as close to the site as possible. This is, after all, called a walk and talk. So lots of walking and lots of steps. Okay, I want to point your attention to something that if you blink, you'll miss it. When we drive by here all the time, you know, going down to the Lion's Gate or to the Garden of Gethsemane or wherever we're going in East Jerusalem, a lot of times we'll come down this road and we'll point it out real quickly. But today it's cool because we can actually stop. Let me try to find a better spot where you can see it. Maybe you don't even notice it yet. Okay, so let's go past this car. I'm gonna be in the shade, so hopefully it looks okay. Let's see. It is what it is. Okay, so in behind me here, there's actually a couple of different layers, and as we go past this, they kind of just blend in together that you may not notice what you're seeing here. So let me show you the top of the wall first. And way there it is at the top there. You can see, you know, what they call the old city walls, right? The ones that are about 500 years old. Then you'll notice a transition, a change. It goes from block to this rock, this limestone looking thing, until you kind of get right to the bottom here. You're actually looking at Mount Moriah at this point. King Herod, when he built the temple, or when he refurbished the temple, he built it right over top of Mount Moriah, which is kind of like a little hill. And if you think of like a shoebox and you turn it upside down, that's what he did. He put retaining walls around the old city, and then he flattened the top, and that's what's called the Temple Mount today. But when he got to this section here, he didn't have to put his fake walls. All he did was he connected his walls to the existing jutting out part of Mount Moriah that was here. And so this is one of the few areas in Jerusalem where you can see the original Mount Moriah. So now we're going to continue towards the next gate, which is Herod's Gate. And it should be our last stop before we get to the area of the Eastern Gate. So that was kind of cool for me, because I've always driven by, you know, this part of the city on the bus like everybody else, but I've never actually walked down the street ever in 44 trips. This is my first time. Oh, we got some fans in the background there. So this is my first time being able to actually stop and walk down the street and actually go right up to the wall and see it for myself. So you're seeing new things, and I'm seeing new things too. Everybody wins. Okay, I know I said there would be only one more stop before we got to the Eastern Gate, but I saw this. Every time we drive by it, my tour guide always points this out. So let me just kind of show you here. So Mount Moriah juts out back there. So Herod only had to build his wall so far. But look at it here. So now Mount Moriah is coming back down. Comes back down. It's going back to floor level here. And so this is where, see where the wall starts there? It literally just connects right to Mount Moriah. So if Mount Moriah sounds familiar to you, that's because it should. It's mentioned in the book of Genesis. And if you remember, that's where God spoke to Abraham and he said, I want you to take your son Isaac and go where? To the region of Moriah. And there I will show you a mountain. So it was here on Mount Moriah that God had Abraham bring his son Isaac. And then I want you to fast forward to the New Testament. It was here at Mount Moriah that Jesus was also brought to be sacrificed. So the original one, Isaac, instead of a man being sacrificed, God provided a lamb. But by the time we get to the New Testament, God doesn't just provide a lamb to die in our place. He provides the Lamb of God, Jesus. And so here we are. We've arrived at our last gate, known as Herod's Gate. And it wasn't built by Herod because this wall is about 1,500 years after the time of King Herod. Okay, so now that we've passed the final gate, so we came up to what, the new gate, the Damascus Gate, Herod's Gate, and we saw the Jaffa Gate. And on the other side, we have what they call, there's the Water Gate, there's the Dung Gate, there's the Sheep Gate. And now we're going to the Eastern Gate. Again, I've never tried to access it from the outside. So I'm gonna see, first of all, make sure it's okay to do it. And if we can, it'll be something cool. And this is why I chose to walk and not drive. Welcome to Jerusalem, the city of perpetual traffic jams. All right, so I am just about to the end of the wall here. And in just a few moments, I'm gonna turn the corner. And then we should be able to see the Eastern Gate just up on our right-hand side. Let's see. Like I said, I've never tried this before, so let me see. This is a parking lot of some kind. With all the leftover skids and stuff, it looks like maybe they have markets here sometimes, or they just use it for storage or whatever. But usually when we're passing this part of the gate, we're on the main road, which is like over and down a little bit, and we drive right by it. So I'm wondering if this will let us walk like right up to it. Because these are the walls that the Eastern Gate is connected to, so it should be just over there. So we just came from this corner here, that's the end of it. Now we're walking along here. Okay, I can see the Eastern Gate from here. I don't know if you can make it out. I've seen it, so many times from the other side. It'd be really cool. Let me just kind of give you a bit of the view from here. So that's the Mount of Olives on that side. And so the Mount of Olives, that's a Jewish cemetery. And here you can tell by the writing on some of the tombs that this is a Muslim cemetery. Yeah, so they look similar in many ways to the tombs up on the Mount of Olives. There's a church there with all those kind of golden domes. That's the Russian Orthodox Church. So there you go. There's the Mount of Olives. We were up there a couple of segments ago, and now we're down here at the base. And what is this? Okay, so we're approaching another gate here. It isn't the eastern gate. The eastern gate is just down that way a little bit. Okay, so we are on the eastern side of the old city, but I know 100% this is not the eastern gate. Let's see if I can get a name for it here. Let's walk through it. There's a plaque here. Oh, we're at the Lion's Gate. Oh my goodness. I totally know where I am now. Okay. We always drive by it, so I never really pay attention, but okay, that's the Lion's Gate. That's another main entrance into the city. So I'm gonna see if we can go in here. Okay. Well, this is definitely a first for me. So this is clearly a Muslim cemetery where we are. Okay, here's the view. So, again, you can tell by the writing that we're in a Muslim cemetery. And there again, there's that Russian Orthodox Church I was telling you about. Beautiful day in Jerusalem. I mean, just a spectacular view of the Mount of Olives as well. Okay, so I can see the eastern gate really clearly now. You can just kind of see it there. It's jutting a little bit higher than the rest of the walls, and I think this path is going to go right by it. So when I asked around if it was okay to approach the eastern gate, nobody really seemed to know. I guess not a lot of people try to do it. I don't know. But it looks like, yeah, this path goes right by the eastern gate. No way. Oh, wow. Okay, let me show you what I'm seeing here. Like, that's how close I am to the eastern gate. It's right there. I know it's in shade, but you can see it's like a double wide gate. There's two of them there. And down here in the valley, you can see Absalom's tomb, that cone, upside down ice cream cone looking peak. That was Absalom's tomb that we spoke about, that used to be plastered with stucco and would gleam in the light. And Jesus said that you're like those whitewashed tombs. You're clean and white on the outside, but inside you're full of death. And then he would have said that and just turned here and would have gone into the city to where the temple was. I mean, the parallel was glaringly obvious. So, all right, so we're gonna take a few more steps. And let's see. My goodness, here we are. This is about as close as you can get. So there it is. That's the eastern gate. So it turns out it was worth the walk. I mean, it took quite a while to get down here. There was a lot of roads to walk and a lot of miles to travel. But wow, to get here and to be this close to the actual eastern gate, wow, that's pretty cool. And this is as far as we can go. You can see it's kind of gated up here. I'm sure billions of tourists would like to come here. So for now, this is as close as I can get to actually touching where the Eastern Gate was, where Jesus, the Son of God, rode the donkey into Jerusalem before his execution and the ultimate sacrifice for humanity. Wow. You know, for years I've been talking about how there's a prophecy in Ezekiel 44 that says that after the God of Israel has gone through that gate, you have to seal it. And I'm looking at the gate, the Eastern Gate. It is sealed. You know, there's a Muslim cemetery in front of it, and there's the Jewish cemetery over here, there's a Christian cemetery over here, and that gate is sealed. I mean, that means the God of Israel went through it. And the only day I know of in history where that could have happened is 2,000 years ago when Jesus rode the donkey through that Eastern Gate. And because that gate is shut, we know that he's been here. I hope that you've enjoyed today's, walk and talk segment as we made the journey to the Eastern Gate here in Jerusalem, where the Bible just comes alive. You know, we don't come to Israel to get closer to God. That's not why we do the tours. We come to Israel to understand the people who are in the Bible. And the more we understand the Bible, and then just naturally we understand God more. And the more we fall in love with his word, the more we fall in love with him. And that's why I invite people to come on a tour to Israel. Come and fall in love with the land of the Bible. Fall in love with the Bible. And when you go home, as you continue to read that Bible, your love for God is just naturally going to increase. So let me invite you to join me. Head over to joeamaral.org, find out when we're coming next to Israel, and join us on the tour of a lifetime.